Everyone has a favorite dessert. Whether it's caramels or cookies, bready or fluffy, there's always an option for someone. But what do different places commonly have for their desserts? How are North American treats different from East Asian ones? And how are they made? Let's find out. So we're starting off with an American classic, chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate chip cookies were actually invented in 1938 by Ruth Graves Wakefield. The common story is that she created them by accident when she was making regular chocolate cookies and expected the chips to melt. In reality, though, she made them intentionally as an alternative to butterscotch cookies. You can actually find the original recipe on Wikipedia. Here I'm just mixing together the butter and sugar, then sifting together flour, baking soda, and salt. Once that all sifted together and gotten the lumps out, I'll fold it together and then realize that I have a stand mixer still, and then add in chocolate chips. And I'll again fold that in until I remember the stand mixer exists. After that, I shaped and fridged the cookies for about 15 minutes and then baked them at 350 for 12 minutes. And here they are! Going down to South America, alfajores are a sandwich cookie, usually filled with dulce de leche. They can then be covered in sugar, coconut, or chocolate. Here I just made them plain. They actually probably originated from the Middle East and came to Spain when the Umayyads took it over. A similar dessert is found in the longest surviving Arab cookbook. The Spanish alfajores then came to South America with Spanish conquistadors, and now there are all kinds of variations all over South America and Europe. Here I'm just mixing together the dry ingredients, like cornstarch and flour and sugar, and putting that all together, mixing it together until you get a crumbly dough. And I'll just very briefly knead that together. This will be an extremely crumbly dough, and it will be very dry. That's why it's usually covered in some kind of chocolate or sugar. And then we'll just wrap that in plastic wrap and leave it in the fridge for a little while. After you roll out, shape, and cook the cookies, you're gonna spoon in dulce de leche into the middle and put it on both sides and then sandwich them together so that it's kind of oozing out a little bit. And then you'll just repeat. And there you have it, alfajores. Spinning the globe to South Asia, barfi is a fudge-like milk-based sweet. It was first made in Persia, which is modern-day Iran, and was brought down to India with the Mughals in the 1500s. It's made with condensed milk, sugar, and brown butter, and it's often served at celebrations or a religious festival. Here I'm actually browning the butter myself, so you want to just take a lot of butter and constantly swirl it around until the water evaporates and the milk fats start to brown. So we're just going to combine the sugar, the powdered milk, and the regular milk. Once it's combined, you want to add it into a non-stick pan and put it over medium to low heat. And add in your browned butter, which mine turned out a little bit burnt. And this stirring will take about 10 minutes if you're lucky. I definitely undercooked it. Once it gets to a state that's a little more cooked than this one, you're going to want to put it on not a parchment paper lined baking sheet. I would suggest a greased baking pan because this made it impossible to get off. At the very least, grease your parchment paper. And refrigerate. And once that's done, sprinkle on some chopped pistachios on top. Next is chocolate lava cake, specifically from France. Here I have my friend Pitch helping me cook the two cakes. So here I'm making the ganache, which is just melted chocolate and some heavy cream. Chocolate lava cakes actually have two variations, both of which popped up in the 1980s very close to each other in France. One by a chef in France named Michael Brass, and the other by a chef in New York, Jean-Georges von Gerichentin. Both had the idea separately and only 6 years apart, but the actual cakes are very different. Brass's molten center comes from a frozen chocolate disc, which is the one that we're doing here, covered in cake batter which melts in the oven when it bakes. Von Gerichentin, on the other hand, his cake is characterized by being cooked for such a short time in a very hot oven, leaving the center slightly raw and gooey. Both methods are good, but the latter has become more popular due to his version being easier to replicate. Here we're just mixing together chocolate and butter. And once that's all melted together, we'll add it to the batter. Now we're just whisking everything together, and we're going to add the flour 1 tablespoon at a time, and very carefully whisk that in. And then we'll just scoop in about 1/3 of a cup of cake batter, then add the ganache to the center on top of that, and then another 1/3 of a cup of cake batter. Finally, we have frog cakes, which originate from Australia. Around 1923, the Balfour's Bakery created a small cake in the shape of a frog's head, called a frog cake. The cakes became extremely popular, and in 2001 they were declared a South Australian heritage icon by the National Trust of South Australia. The actual cake is made out of vanilla sponge cake, a jam center, artificial cream, and icing. The cream is formed into a ball that goes on top, then the icing covers the cake and cream. A knife then forms the mouth of the frog. The frog is usually green, brown, or pink. We're going to spread the jam on a halved cake and then layer the cakes on top of each other. We'll trim the edges. And add a big dollop of cream that should probably have been more whipped than this to the cakes. And here they are, the final product. From France to Japan, Argentina to Australia, everywhere in the world there's people with a favorite treat. Cookies and cakes, caramels and candies. There's almost as many types as there are people who enjoy them. Thanks for taking this spin around the globe, and let us know what your favorite dessert is and what makes it so special in the comments. Thanks for watching! Okay, chocolate chip cookies and milk.
Oh, ooh, good.
I don't even drink milk that much, but I feel like if I get
Was this milk hand squeezed?
Yes.
I made sure.
Wait, are you saying it's goat milk?
You know what? Yes, Sam. It's goat milk.
Hey, I
Because
know
we
one
love
site
you.
in which you can buy orca milk, so... That's,
Why'd she put chocolate in butterscotch cookies?
I can only eat so much.
Because she's a woman, she can't do anything right.
She's a woman instead.
I'm leaving that in.
I love being the only woman here. I am the one who gets to say that.
True.
you describe it as a
So this
hamburger?
is
Backbone hamburger.
an Argentine variation of alfajores, which is a...
How did you even say that?
Does it better.
My dad taught...
Whoa.
I kept pronouncing it
Whoa.
wrong. My dad had to teach me how
Your
to say
dad
it.
Wait.
better than.
These cookies feel like the same texture of those like really good sugar cookies that you get at the
Madeline's
store.
Yeah.
They taste like Madeline's to me.
I see
They
that.
taste like Madeline's,
I really like them.
but the texture is like the pink frosted cookies that you get at the
Mm.
grocery
You're
store.
right.
I really
For
love
me,
pistachios.
Because I already tried this off camera, this reminds me of, you know how dogs eat peanut butter? In the same way that their mouths are not built for peanut butter, I feel like my mouth is not built for this.
Ooh. It's got like a
Let's
really
check it.
creamy flavor.
This is
Like
confusing.
it sticks to the teeth.
Medium about it. I don't know.
I like
It's
it's
not for me, but
creamy
I
vibes.
do understand it.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
Bring out
tiny
the
bits
taste.
for sure.
I like the flavor. It's just the texture. Like
It's like a little almondy. It's maybe flavor.
Pistachios.
Oh yeah, it's molten.
Oh,
Yay!
yeah.
It was a
Don't-
success. Good
Don't
job.
burn your tongue, guys.
I call this a success.
I don't
Good
want
job.
any of this to go to waste though.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
eat
my
more
thing.
of it later.
You can eat more later if you want it, but
It
you
won't-
get into the habit of eating more than you think you can, and then you complain about your tummy aching later.
This is what feels
I can't do
almost
that.
What's the filling for the top part?
There's it's whipped cream, cream cheese frosting,
I'll
stra-
do this.
strawberry
I'll
jam,
do
and
this
sponge
so
cake.
you know what's in it.
Thank you, desserts around the world.
Good job.
Bye bye.
Cake.